Hi everyone, welcome to my first ever behind the scenes video. This is going to be me sharing a little bit about what's been going on in my life in the last sort of 6 months or so, both in my work life and my home life. So I hope you enjoy it and you'll have to let me know what you think. So first of all, I'm recording this in July of 2025. I can't even begin to think about what's going on in my own life without just touching on what is going on in the wider world right now. It is an absolute shit show, and it's very, very hard to sort of hold that as well as holding, the importance of this work that I'm doing. And looking out there at the wider world and seeing all of the sort of hate and the othering and the lack of acceptance and the lack of compassion and how that is growing at the moment, I know I won't be alone in feeling like how do I help, right? What do I do to help? And I don't have any answers. I keep looking, I keep thinking about the things I can do. Some days it feels just impossible, right, to carry this weight of all the hate and the othering. How do we bring people back to compassion? How do we not ourselves fall into the trap of othering those who disagree with us, but whilst still holding boundaries that align with our values? And most importantly, how do we actually take action to change things in the world at the moment? And this is where I can have some really big wobbles about my work. Like, does it even matter? Why am I even doing this? Is it like too frivolous, working on our bodies when all of that is going on? And I think that will always be something that I keep wondering about. And I don't actually think that's a bad thing. But I do hope that I will continue to find ways to help and take action to make the world a better place, right? And I have to remind myself as well that obviously it's not, oh dear, somebody doing their doing their gardening, I think. I hope you can't hear it too much. I have to remind myself it's not for me to do all of the things, but it is for me to do something, that there are lots of ways to make a difference. And maybe even the work that I do is a tiny, tiny part of the solution. That bringing people back to their bodies, reconnecting people with their bodies, connecting people with each other, right? Meeting people where they're at, making them feel accepted and hopefully safe, and maybe bringing some glimmers of joy to people's lives. Yeah, it's tough. I'm sure lots of you listening to this will be with me. But I do love my work. I do think that it is important. It does have its place. I have to carry those two truths, that the world as we know it is crumbling and that we have to continue to live our lives, because I don't know what else we can do. So, it's big stuff, right? So just to tell you a little bit about work at the moment for me, the Somatic Movement membership has been slowly growing, which is absolutely wonderful to see. Marketing is not my forte. I also don't have a massive amount of time for it. Some of you will know I only work a few hours a week because my main role is home educating our kids. But I feel like more people are hearing about somatic movement and are sort of drifting over to it, There's more sort of awareness about this work. I have an online membership which is growing. I have a very full in-person membership, which is fantastic, but I would love to be able to, offer it out to more people. But I have managed to create 2 extra spaces for our membership, in-person membership, which will become available in September when we start a new block. And I did that by I teach in my lounge, and moving some furniture And my lovely husband, who attends classes, has agreed to, like, if everybody turns up each week, like sometimes people can't come, right? But if everybody turns up one week, then he will miss the class that week. So yeah, so that's how we've managed to make a little bit of extra space. Yeah, the online membership has had some lovely new members join. I love working both in person and online. I love my members. Thank you all for your curiosity and willingness to do this work. I love hearing people's insights, how they're developing their practice, how somatic movement is impacting them in their lives, those little sort of aha moments that they're having throughout their days. And honestly, they're just such a genuinely lovely bunch of people. They are so welcoming, so mutually supportive, and I feel so lucky that they have found me and come to this work. In terms of some new people coming to the work, I've got a few offerings online, which is fantastic now. So some are pre-recorded, which is great because it means people can get started anytime. In terms of joining the live sessions, what I'm doing is teaching them in blocks. So beginners can always start at the beginning of a block where I assume no knowledge, and then we can sort of build up from there. That works really well for new people. It's great for those of us who are more experienced to go back to some of those earlier foundational moves and uncover new layers. So that's really fantastic. It's working really well. And for those of you who don't know, I also teach salsa dancing, and we've decided to do much the same in our salsa classes too, which is quite unusual in the salsa world, not to offer just ongoing drop-ins week on week. Because what we were finding was, because we had new people coming each week, we had to keep starting from scratch, and then we weren't able to progress the dancers who were at a later stage. So what we're doing now is we're running beginner courses 2 or 3 times a year. And once you finish that, you can then come on a sort of more on a drop-in basis, right? And it was a little bit scary, I'm not going to lie. As I say, it's a very unusual structure for the salsa world. You know, would people come? Would it be too much to kind of get the courses running, that sort of thing? What if no one comes? But it does seem to be working for now, which is a big relief. We love our salsa. We love bringing new people into the work, and yeah, it's just exciting to find a way that works both for the people that we're working with and for us in terms of how we sort of structure our life personally as well. So, woohoo! I'm doing some one-to-one somatic movement sessions. Again, I don't have a massive amount of time and space to fit those in, but when I can, I really do enjoy working one-on-one with people. I'm working with some absolutely delightful clients at the moment who are really keen to sort of explore and to meet the confusion of the work, because there's always confusion. That's where the learning happens, right? And make changes in their somas, which is amazing to see. My current clients are in-person clients, but I do offer online one-to-ones. But I do love getting a bit hands-on. And at the moment, that feels really, really important because it's given me more experience just prior to the next stage of my somatic movement path, which is that I have been accepted onto the next stage of training for this work, which is a 600-hour, 2.5-year course. So it's going to take me even deeper, including some hands-on movement protocols developed by Thomas Hanna, who created somatic movement. I'll learn more about the neurophysiology. I'll go deeper into the philosophy of the work. For anyone who's ever sort of connected with the work of Thomas Hanna more directly, he was definitely a philosopher. And it's really fascinating to sort of hear him talk or read his work. I am very, very excited to do this new training. I think it's going to bring a massive amount to the work that I'm already offering. I am also terrified about how I'm going to find the time to do all the work, but it will happen. I am sure of that. Keep your eye out, because I will need people local to me to get hands-on sessions, and those are going to be very low cost to make sure I get in my 200 hours of the actual hands-on clinical practice time. So really excited to take this forward, see how the work's going to inform my teaching, bring even more new ideas and nuance to this work to make it even more effective. So really exciting. Last thing on the sort of work front, I've just created a brand new course. Some of you will have heard about this already. I had the idea quite some time ago to offer something that is in a little bit more sort of bite-sized pieces to get people started on doing the work. I know a lot of us live very full lives, and finding hour-long chunks to get started is really tricky for some of us. And I think that is especially true with something new, before you've really kind of experienced what it can do for you, the benefits that it brings. So I planned out the whole course. There's some short theory videos. There are loads of, as short as I can make them, practice videos. And my husband took the kids away for a weekend of camping, and I got set up and I created 35 videos in a weekend for the course. It was an absolute marathon, but I'll tell you what, because I was doing the work to put onto the videos, my soma, my living body as I experience it, felt absolutely brilliant after all that somatics, I tell you. All right, I'll put a link for that in the comments, so you can check it out if you'd like to give it a go as well. So, coming on to some things in my personal life. The weekend where my family went camping to free me up so that I could do this, do all the videos, I have to admit, as they were sending me photos of, it was beautiful weather, they were down in the New Forest, beautiful part of the world, I was jealous, and I thought, what am I doing? I could be there camping with my family and having a lovely weekend, and no, I'm here, I'm putting together this course, I'm doing all these videos. And I do find those times, rare times, where I have a chunk of time on my own to sort of think about the needs of my business and how things are going, the direction things are taking. That's really helpful, but also does tend to bring up some of those demons in my head. Some of those voices that are like, why are you doing this? What is the point of this? Is it worth it? Does anyone even need this work? Does anyone want it? All of that kind of stuff can come up for me in that, when I create some of that space. What I have found is, through all of the work I've done over the years to get to know myself better, including somatic movement, I am way more ready for those voices. And I really see it as an uncomfortable but valuable opportunity to take that space to kind of explore what's working, what I really need, how I want to show up and serve, those sort of questions. I found it, sort of making the videos for this course and thinking, is this what people want? And then I thought, well, I know it's what I want when I start something new, right? I want those kind of bite-sized pieces. So there are going to be other people out there who will find that useful. So I carried on and did my marathon recording session. So my husband Stuart and I, we're really enjoying teaching our salsa classes, and that kind of comes under business, but in terms of sort of that, just getting back to dancing again, we had to give up for many years. Things were so full on at home, it just was not, it wasn't on the cards. I realised how much I missed it, and we managed to find a way to start teaching again with our brilliant third teacher, Helen. So we started back a couple of years ago. It has been such a joy. It has brought so much to my life to be teaching and dancing again. And a lot like the somatic movement membership, the Purple Salsa group, that's our salsa name, Purple Salsa. The community there is really like a little family to us. They are a fantastic bunch. We absolutely love them. We love working with them. We love learning with them. We love dancing with them as well. On the dancing front, we have also taken up a new dance to us called West Coast Swing. Oh my goodness, we've danced for years. We met at Salsa. We have been married for 21 years. So we've been dancing for a really long time. We also did some ballroom and Latin dancing, pre-children. We did, a fairish bit of that. We were kind of reasonably solid on the dance floor. West Coast Swing is like no other dance we have ever done before. It's a very unusual sort of dance. There's a lot more sort of flexibility in terms of how it kind of comes together, which has sort of blown our minds. And it has taught us so much. Coming right back to that beginner level has been so informative, so helpful for us. And that is both in terms of our dancing, but also of our teaching, and that sort of reminder of this is what people need, right? In the classes. We love West Coast Swing. We're enjoying the dance a lot. Salsa will always be our first love though. But all dancing is good dancing, as I say. What else have I been doing? So I've really got into climbing. One of my children started climbing many years ago when we first started home educating, actually. And one of the other children has also gotten into it. And so we've been doing quite a bit of that. I absolutely love that. It's not easy. It's a brain workout as well as a body one, because you've got to sort of think, how am I going to do this? It's like solving a puzzle every time you get on the wall. I'm having weekly strength training sessions. I've started to get some muscles, just a little bit. It's coming. And I notice how much stronger I feel just sort of in day-to-day life. We do a bit of gardening or something like that. I notice that I'm stronger. We also decided, and by we, I mean me and my lovely family went along with it, of course. Thank you, family. We decided we were going to climb Ir Wyddfa, formerly known as Snowdon, in Wales. And we did. We did it. We went on holiday this year and we climbed Ir Wyddfa. It wasn't easy. We didn't choose the easiest path, but we did make it to the top and we were very proud of ourselves for doing it. I don't think I would have been able to do it without the somatic movement. Well, no, I'm sure I wouldn't have been able to do it without the somatic movement, but I also really felt the strength training coming into play, like not feeling it as much in my legs as I really felt like I might have, things like that. I'm going to write more about that another time, so you can have a look at that if you're interested. Family stuff, we've had some sort of upsy downsy times with health things. Some of you know I had vertigo for the first time ever. Literally woke up in the morning and was like, whoa, what is going on? I'd like it to be the last time ever. Thank you very much. That was way back in February, I think. It was ages ago. And it did gradually ease, but it nearly made me miss a somatic movement weekend that I'd booked on up in York. So we're down in Berkshire. So it was it's like 4.5 hours drive. My lovely family, again, humoured me and managed to wangle it to drop everything and take me up there in the car so that I didn't miss out. They are amazing, I tell you. Wider family, some health issues which have been challenging, but hopefully on the up, or at least on a level for now. So we're still home educating all of our 3 children, but the oldest is now in post-16 provision. So he's no longer compulsory school age, which means we don't have to write a report for him anymore. Yay! This is a big deal because writing 3 reports every year is it's not fun. But I'm the sort of principal home educator. I'm in charge of sort of the overall provision. My husband does some elements of it. So with the home education, running the household, which many of you here will resonate with, you're managing children's needs, you're trying to work out where everyone needs to be, we're making sure we try and do some of the things we want to do, making sure there's food on the table that everyone will eat. All of that takes up a massive amount of time and head space, but I have to say, it is an absolute delight to spend time with my kids and to see them continue to blossom and become more and more themselves. I think that's particularly great for us to see that we are a neurodivergent family and we just want people to feel like they can be themselves, right? Which is not easy in this big bad world. I'm sure many of you will understand. I'm very, very grateful to my hand-in-hand parenting background for the incredible sort of respectful relationship that I have with my teens and tween. And it just makes it so joyful to sort of spend time around them. So definitely feeling very grateful for that. And other little bits, I love to read. So fiction, non-fiction. I love to do crochet when I get the time. What I absolutely love is making blankets, but a single bed size one takes about 100 hours. So you don't see the actual sort of end point of my work for quite some time. But I love sort of tickling away at it, sort of seeing how it comes together. And then my favourite obsession at the moment is my Merlin app on the phone, which identifies birds from their song. I'm obsessed with corvids. I absolutely love them. That's the crow family, ravens, crows, magpies, all of those. I love them. I love learning about them with no purpose other than my own interest. Learning their calls, learning how to tell them apart, where we might find them. We've now seen all the corvids apart from hooded crows. That's going to be off up to Scotland to see those. Sometime, don't know when. Hopefully in the next 6 months, you never know, right? So going forwards, in my personal life, over the next 6 months and some, I'll be continuing to sort of balance managing the kids' needs with my needs, with our needs as a couple, doing the things we want to do, but making sure we're staying sort of on top of the things that we need to do. And I know that everyone listening to this who cares for children or for other family members will understand how challenging it is to balance everyone's needs. We have worked very, very hard over the years, myself and my husband, to bring our needs back to the joint top of the list. Because I think there's a time in early childhood where you hear all this stuff about, look after yourself, and absolutely you've got to try, but your needs are just not at the top when you've got really little ones. As the kids get older, we've been very proactive, very intentional about bringing back some of the things that we need to be happy and healthy, right? So that's things like making space for somatic movement. It's also making space for doing things we love, like dancing. In my own somatic movement practice, my focus will be on continuing to regain mobility in my shoulders and my upper body. I have made so much progress, but there is more to do. I really, really relish the prospect of continuing to improve my movement with age, rather than that sort of inevitable slide that our culture says you have to put up with this, right? I stay motivated by attending weekly classes, which really, really spurs me on in terms of learning about how I move, but also for adding new ideas to my teaching. And then, of course, the new training I'll be doing, that is going to take up a massive amount of time in the next 6 months and some. So my focus is really going to be looking after my clients, making sure they've got what they need. I probably won't have too much bandwidth for sort of sharing lots of new work, but I'll still be around. There'll be things coming out on YouTube, things coming out via email, but probably not quite as much. We'll keep dancing. We love our dancing. I want to work on my musical expression and just to kind of keep having fun whilst I'm dancing. No more mountain climbing plans, although maybe in future, quite fancy the idea of climbing another mountain. But I'll probably think of some scheme that I'm like, oh, I really want to do that. And my family will probably kindly go along with it. So that's about it for now. I hope you enjoyed hearing a bit about the sort of behind the scenes stuff, a bit more about me. And is there anything else you would have liked to have known? What else would you have liked me to share? I'm really excited about the next 6 months, and I will be back to share more with you in January of 2026. I'll see you then. Well, I'll see you before then, but then I'll see you for another behind the scenes in January. Bye for now.